And then let me jump back into screen share. Here we go. Okay. Does that all make sense? Yeah, cool. Okay. So, and then time off from coaching. So once pre-screens are done by like the second week of September, take off until Thanksgiving break. Because if we feel good enough to submit that material to your top schools, then like, I don't want to work on it much more. Or again, it will begin to feel stale. Then you hit like that thing that economists call diminishing returns, where like, no matter what you do, you don't get that much more out of it. Okay. So focus on your last big academic semester from like September, October, November. You know, those are your last big academic pushes. In a normal year, I say enjoy homecoming and the fall production, but I don't think a lot of you guys are going to have homecoming and fall production this year. Kate, has your high school said what they're doing this year for fall?
For actual school, we're doing everything is like split up. So like it's split up alphabetically. So like the first half goes 1 week and then the second half goes the next week. But that's only until like the beginning of October, and then they're gonna reevaluate. But for the like productions, we're not allowed to have any after school things.
Okay.
So we can't like rehearse.
That sucks. But you do get some time in school? Woohoo! Spencer, what about you?
So we are like totally online starting September 8th through like midterm. And then they'll reevaluate. They'll probably be more like what Kate's doing after that. Our plan is to do Into the Woods, hoping that we can still do it just because like we can split people up really easily for rehearsals. So right now sports are allowed to do stuff and we fall under the same like organization. So I think so far we think we can do it, but it's iffy.
Okay. I mean, if you just do the second act of Into the Woods, then it can be like, behold, 2020, where everything falls apart.
Pretty much.
All right. So we take that time off essentially to just keep your material fresh. So when should you start brushing up? As soon as Thanksgiving break is over, get in 2 sessions in December, just to shake the rust off and like get back into it. Okay. Do 1 more session in January, just to like make sure you've got everything, and you're like fit, you're limber, you're loose, you feel good. The last thing that we do are the mock auditions. And we typically do those right before the New York Unifieds, which may be the same weekend that the Unifieds happen online this year. They haven't said which weekend they're doing them. They've said that it's going to be the weekend of New York, Chicago, or LA. So that could be the end of January or could be the beginning or middle of February. We don't know yet. So CAP will still be doing mock auditions, but we'll be doing them online because I feel it's probably more helpful to recreate the exact format that you guys will be doing your auditions this year. So we'll be hosting them specifically online. The reason that we do mock auditions is because high school auditions and Broadway auditions have more in common with each other than college auditions do. My high school auditions feel very familiar from when I go out on a Broadway audition in New York. It's like, hi, I'm Drew. Here's my song. Here's my dance. Well, see you later. My college auditions are a lot like, so Kate, what makes you tick? You know what I mean? And so like, we want to make sure that we put you through all that so that the first audition you go to, you know, you don't like poop yourself. You know what I mean? Like, we want you to poop yourself in my Zoom room, not where it counts. You know what I mean? Your first audition could be several $1,000 scholarship. And so we want you to be able to grab it, and we want you to be ready to grab it. Unified. So these are our Unifieds dates. You know what? Even though we're not doing in-person Unifieds, just make note of these dates because one of these weeks is when the online Unifieds are going to be. But it's going to be longer than like the 13th through the 14th. There's no way that all the schools who would be doing unifieds are going to do it in 2 days or even 3 days. It's going to be 4, 5, 6 days of unifieds. And this is where your parents come in. Like, you know, the advantage of doing online unifieds is that you don't have the added struggle of like, oh shoot, I gotta get across to the hotel across the street. Crap, I gotta buy lunch. Do I take an Uber? Do I take a cab? Do I drive? You stay at your desk. All those problems are eliminated, and your parents keep bringing you food. They give you a bucket to pee in, and you just keep going. You know what I'm saying? On-campus auditions, which some schools still are doing. Not everyone's doing online only. Some schools are offering on-campus auditions if you want to take advantage of that. You don't have to. Every school will be offering online if you don't want to visit campus. So the last on-campus auditions will be in the beginning of March, which it's actually a great timeline because by then we might actually have had 2 months of vaccine already, which will be pretty cool. The commitment deadlines, we hope this year will be back to May 1st. In 2020, it was June 1st because of COVID, but hopefully we'll be back to May 1st. And then this is really important for me, is knowing your why of the schools that you are applying to. Know why you want to come to a school, not just that it's a school that has a great reputation, all right? What does the school give you? So like Spencer and we both work in musical theater, but I may have a school on my list that I love that Spencer doesn't love. Even though it has a great reputation, it's super famous, all these great alumni went there, it may not be the right school for you. And conversely, your school may not be the right school for me. So what does the school give you financially? What does the school give you career-wise? You know, if your goal is film, TV, and theater, and a program has all of those, but maybe it's not as well known, I would take that over getting into Michigan if they're only doing MT, but you want to do a lot more. And what does it give you in terms of personal enjoyment? Really consider, does it matter to you that you want a school that has a real campus? Like, is it going to drive you cuckoo bananas to have just like a school like Emerson where it's just like buildings throughout Boston, you don't feel like you have a home? You know what I'm saying? I know for me, it was really important to have like football games and like a real campus. That meant a lot to me. When you know your why for a school, you are most on top of your game in the audition room. Because when you know why you want to come there, you prepare better. You take your time. You really focus in on your audition. So every school on your list should have a why for you. You should not have a school that's just like, it's a good school, I guess, because your auditions will be stronger, your organization will be better, and your stress will be lower. If your schools are impressive schools, but they don't have a why for you, they're just on there because of FOMO, right? It's just, I don't want to miss out, versus there are so many cool places for me to consider. One is a lot healthier, right? A lot of people could put Tisch, Carnegie, and Michigan on their list because they don't want to miss out on those, but they don't even know why they're on there, right? You know what I'm saying? Okay. Okay, so I want to go over the 3 types of theater programs. So first of all is a BFA, which you guys are going to college for. So this is going to be most of your programs. So all it means is that 70 to 80% of your college classes are in your discipline. And it's a really narrow focus on your specific discipline. It's focused on acting or MT, vocal music, or dance. And you, with a couple of asterisks, you have to audition for the program. There are a couple of non-audition BFAs, but for the most part, you have to audition. The pros are you get really thorough training and you get a lot of industry connections, much more than you would in a typical college degree. You have showcases for agents, managers, casting directors, and that training makes you more ready to audition. You have to audition for it, which I think is a pro because it puts you at a competitive plane with your peers, which I like a lot. You get a lot of cool master classes from industry professionals, And you can get equity regional theater opportunities from a BFA program and get your equity points while you're still in school. The cons are that typically you're not able to double major. So if you wanted to double major, BFAs pretty much rule that out, unless you're coming in with like 20 credits of APs or something. Minoring is pretty difficult too. There are some schools that make you minor and some schools that love minoring, but a lot of BFAs are like, look, you're here for musical theater. I'm sorry, you can't do anything else. And you learn fewer skills. You know, you don't get to take welding. You don't get to take audio design, all that kind of cool stuff that maybe a BA would give you. You don't get to study abroad unless it's built into the program. And it's a really homogeneous population. So like, you know, you're hanging out with just MT kids pretty much all the time. And the con, it's a pro and a con. You have to audition. You know what I mean? Like, it's a pro once you get into the program. It's a con while you're auditioning, okay? So who's it right for? Actors, techs, and SMs who want to work professionally. That's you guys. Grad school hopefuls for theater and non-theater, because it doesn't matter what your BA or BFA is in. You can do anything you want after you get your BA. And so a BA just means only half of your college classes are in your discipline, okay? And it's a really broad understanding of theater with eclectic classes: acting, directing, playwriting, tech, criticism, text analysis. And you may take a few of these in a BFA program, but not nearly as many and not nearly to the degree you will with a BA program. You usually don't have to audition for a BA program. You just walk on the campus and you say, I'm Spencer, I'm a theater major. And they go, great, welcome aboard. The pros are that you are able to double major, which I double majored, and so I have a BA from SUNY, and I really love being able to double major in theater and poli-sci. You can study abroad during an academic semester, no audition, and a really heterogeneous population, because your department is going to be shared with people who are double majoring and minoring and other stuff. So you get a lot of variation in your community, and you're able to learn more diverse skills. The cons are it's certainly not as challenging as a BFA. So Kate and Spencer, I presume you're both looking mostly at BFA programs? Okay, cool. It's less training for professional entry as a performer. And again, pro and a con, no audition. So who's a BA right for? Actors, stage managers, theater teachers. And if you just love theater, but not for a living. I see some people who are auditioning for BFAs because they think a BFA is the only theater degree. But like in talking to them, they're like, well, I also want to be a teacher, maybe a vet, maybe a lawyer, maybe an astronaut. And I'm like, what are you doing getting a BFA? Like, double major in like vet science and theater. That sounds way more, you know, up your alley. And then the last one is a professional training program. 100% of your college classes are in your discipline. So are either of you looking at AMDA? Okay, great. So AMDA's 2-year program is this. BOCO's program is very nearly this, is almost this. It's an exclusive focus on your specific discipline. It's as close to Hogwarts as you get. We're like, you know, Harry and Hermione never had to take like math. You know what I mean? So like in a professional training program, all you take is just your artistic discipline. And it's focused on either MT or acting. You absolutely have to audition. So the pros are like, you get the most intense training that you possibly can, and you are super ready to work professionally right after college. I know AMDA gets kind of a bad rap, but like all of the AMDA grads I have ever worked with book like crazy once they graduate, because AMDA teaches you how to get a job and how to keep getting jobs as long as you keep working. The cons are that you don't get a diploma typically. BOCO is different because you will get a BFA, but like if you do AMDA's 2-year program, they say, here's a certificate of completion for Kate, good job. But it's not a degree. And it's a completely homogeneous environment. Everyone's an MT performer, which is why I knew I didn't want to do it, because, you know, I'm an actor, I love actors, I love acting, but holy God, actors are exhausting. And so I was like, I gotta be around some non-actors at some point during my day. So who's it right for? Actors who want to work professionally. So, and now the word that shall not be named, backup plan. I hate this word. Backup plan sabotages your student's success. I'm talking to your parents now. If you don't succeed at this, is always the intro to a backup plan. You would never say that to any non-arts professional. It implies the odds of career-ending failure are so high that you need to be planning for a change of profession before this profession has ever begun. It takes a psychological toll on your student. The lack of confidence you have in your student by suggesting they do something else before they even try is really detectable. So I don't like backup plans, but there are alternatives to show your love and support for your kid without telling them that their career is a bad idea. Instead, you can achieve the same results by using a different approach. Learning an additional money-making skill that your student can employ themselves with is awesome. So I recommend this to every student who's going to theater college. Learn video editing, learn sound editing and HTML coding. Because when you're not gigging, which is going to be most of the time, you're either, you are auditioning to get a gig. When you're not gigging, if you're a video editor or a sound editor, your friends are going to give you so much money because your friends are filmmakers and actors. They don't know how to do that stuff, but you do. And editors typically charge between $100 and $400 an hour on a project. So like you can make a lot more money than you could serving. You know what I mean? And then HTML coding, you can always do from home. And one of my buddies that I did Starcatcher with down in San Diego, he graduated from Michigan's MT program, but he double majored in musical theater and computer science. And so what he does is when he's not gigging, he makes websites for actors. And like it really pays the bills. So even if you can't double major, I would really encourage you to minor in these things because it will reap you big financial benefits as an actor. And yes, Spencer.
What do you think of like a business minor along with BFA?
I think a business minor is super great. I like that used to be the thing that I told every actor to do was a business minor because you are your own CEO, CFO, marketing manager, blah, 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 blah. I don't necessarily think you need a full minor in it if you don't want to. The longer I do this, the more I'm like, these things pay the bills more. You know what I mean? Like these things give you more financial benefits than a business minor would. And there is luckily not a supreme jury who checks in on actors and see who has succeeded and who is not. There is no quantitative finish line. So you don't need a backup plan because you reach a critical failure. And side note, no one cares what your bachelor's degree is in. So if you get tired of acting and you want to get your teaching credential or your law degree or your med license, your MBA, you can do all of that with a theater degree. So many of my friends who graduated with musical theater degrees are now running like Fortune 500 companies in the marketing department or in the finance department. And like, the boss don't care that they have a musical theater degree. You know what I mean? So like, if your parents say, but what can you do with a theater degree? Whatever you want. Just the same as someone who has any other kind of degree. Except that you can also sing and dance, so. All right, so facts are an antidote to anxiety. I love this. Get the facts about school and get off of College Confidential. College Confidential is a boiling cauldron of anxiety. It's like looking anything up on WebMD. Like when you have like an ingrown toenail and you go onto WebMD, like half an hour later, like, oh my God, I have terminal cancer. So don't go onto College Confidential because there are some crazy theater moms on there who are like, if you don't do this, you'll never get in, and you'll begin to internalize it. So like, just cut that toxic relationship out of your life. So get the facts, because once you know the truth about what you're worried about, you feel a lot better. So either work with a coach or just call the school. Like we had last year, there were people applying to University of Arizona and it was their dream school. And they were like, but Danny's leaving the acting department. Da, 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 da. It was all over College Confidential. It was a big rumor and people were freaking out. And so I just called the school. I was like, Danny, are you leaving? He's like, no, where'd you get that from? And everyone's anxiety was like super relieved. Or like, I heard they're cutting the MT program. I call them, no, we're not cutting our MT program. So like, don't worry, just like get the facts. Supporting your kids. It gets overwhelming. So make sure that for your kids, you offer them assistance with applications and other academic elements. I'm not saying do it for them, but I'm saying make sure that you offer that assistance to them so that they know that they have a partner in you. Make sure you offer them verbal expressions of care and love. So we know that our parents care about us, but especially in high pressure, difficult situations, it's really important to hear that we have someone who's working with us and not someone who's just setting expectations for us, okay? Supporting your kids, verbal expressions of support and belief, because there will be times that your kids will think they can't manage the audition and the application process. And like Kate and Spencer, I know it's already August and I'm sure that you guys are already going, ah! So they will feel overwhelmed. So reminding them that they're playing on hard mode, like they're doing really difficult stuff and they're doing very well is really important for your kids to hear. Supporting your parents. Remember that for most of your parents, it's their first time helping their kids get into college. And it's much different when it was when your parents were teenagers. So make sure that you offer your parents assistance. And when they offer you assistance, remember, it's out of love. And even if they're like terrible at helping you, when they offer you assistance, remember, it's because they love you and they're trying to help you. For nearly all of your parents, it's definitely their first time helping a theater kid get into college. And for most of your parents, they're a fish out of water. And like 32 bars and a pre-1900 dramatic monologue means nothing to them. So they just want to help. So be patient with them and be thankful that they care enough about you that they want to help you. Most of your parents work full-time or they're stay-at-home parents looking after a family. And most of the time, they're as exhausted as you are. And they often don't have the mental bandwidth that they'd like to help you. So verbal affirmation goes a long way. The number of times I have had a parent tell me that they just started bursting into tears when their kid said, hey mom, thanks a lot for helping me. Like it just really moved them that their student appreciated what they were doing for them. So just give your parents the occasional, verbal affirmation that you are thanking them. If you're feeling overwhelmed, ask if there are specific action items that your parents can help you with. And I know it sounds like I'm asking you to give them work versus support, but when you do that, it really helps take some steam out of the pipe and it helps prevent a burst pipe, right? So the more that we can avoid like a procrastination backlog, the easier it is for both of you in this whole process. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. Your parents' brains are split in as many directions as yours are. Like you are typically taking 5 or 6 different subjects at one time, and you're doing theater, and maybe you're doing like school theater and outside theater. They're, doing their work and they're cooking meals and cleaning a house and paying the bills. So an easy gift to them is sharing your schedule early. Having a shared like college audition schedule will really, really help. Okay, material selection. So I know that you guys have said like, we pretty much have material selected. This might help whittle it down a little bit. So the 2 most important factors in material selection are, is it what the school asked for? And do you love it? And I know this sounds simplified, but you would be surprised as how many students don't take those two things seriously. Isn't what the school asked for, just means look at the exact wording of what a school asked for, because it gives you more options to satisfy them, okay? So if they ask for just 32 bars, all they want to see is a song that's 32 bars, and your options really open up. Because if you have more of a rock sound, then like, oh, cool, I can sing a rock song for these 32 bars. If they ask for a song, shoot, you can come in with your best minute cut of whatever you want. Like, that really gives you options. If they ask for a 32-bar song with a 2 to 4 bar intro, don't mess that up. Make sure you give them exactly what they want, because they're asking for it for a specific reason. And with something like that, the 32-bar song with a 2 to 4 bar intro, Michigan always asks for songs that way. And they're doing that for two reasons. Because they don't want a bell tone, because that makes it more difficult for you to get into the song. And B, they want to see that you can follow directions. It's an early test to see, okay, can she read what we want and then execute it? And then last thing is about material selection, don't get hung up on dates. And by that, I mean pre-post 1968. It's just a really convenient way of saying something more classical, something more contemporary and rock. The reason they choose 1968, this is some musical theater nerd stuff, is because Hair was written in 1968, and it's the first big rock musical. So Jerry Herman kept writing very classical musical theater well into the 1970s, which that can be your pre-68, even though it was written in the 70s. Don't worry about it. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. Second question, do you love it? You never have a better performance than when you are super excited to share, the material. Be cautious about picking a song because you think it's going to be the song that the school likes, or because it's just like, like a vocal demo of like, I can show them my high note, like I can show them my no. They don't really care about that. If they want to hear it, they'll say, hey, Kate, come over to the piano, sing your high note. You know what I mean? So you don't need to necessarily demo that. Always pick a piece based in large part to your connection to it. Because also, if you're doing a song that like you just think would be a good song for a school, you're going to be in your head about like, do they like it? Is it a good song? And you're not connecting to your scene partner. You're not connecting to your goals, et cetera, et cetera. So would you say confidently, both of you guys, that like your songs you have right now, you really like them?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Can I ask Spencer what you're doing?
Sorry, I'm doing Try Me from She Loves Me, and I'd Rather Be Sailing from A New Brain.
Oh my God, I love that song. Oh, great. Kate, what about you?
Some of the ones that I'm considering, well, one of the main ones, I like that you mentioned it, one of the main ones is Easy to Be Hard from Hair.
Yeah.
I also have a question about something. So for songs, if I wanted to do They Just Keep Moving the Line from Smash, can I do that?
Yeah.
Okay, also I have a question about monologues and the whole connection thing to it. I find it a lot easier to connect to songs rather than monologues. So how do you find that connection in the monologues that you pick? Like, how do you pick based on the connection?
Yeah, so I would say that like typically, and this is unfortunate like for your specific demographic, Kate and Spencer, typically monologues written for teenagers are usually pretty crap, because it's like, my dad won't give me the car keys. Billy broke up with me. Like, it's like adult authors don't know how to write for teenagers that aren't also like 12 years old. or it's like, I lost my virginity in the backseat of a car. Whoa! You know what I mean? Like, they're either like super serious or just like don't have much of a connection. So the first thing I'd say to you, Kate, is look for monologues that range. Even though you're looking for age-appropriate monologues, keep it up to like 40 years old, because a lot of them don't have to deal with being a mom or a wife. A lot of them are just like a 40-year-old in the same predicament a teenager would be in. So keep it open to range, because you'll find more stuff you connect with, because monologues written for adult characters have a lot more substance. And so like, I think you as an actress would identify with that a lot more. The second thing is, like, I would say this is where a coach would really come in, because they'll have like, here's my monologue shelf. I could say, oh, great. Here are 10 good monologues. Let's find 2 or 3 that you connect with. So does that help?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, you got it. Okay. Red flags. Red flags to watch out for with coaches. If you have a coach or a teacher who gives you a single monologue, and this goes to your question, Kate, and a single song, and tells you they're perfect for you, these are the ones for you, get a second opinion, because they're just thinking about the authorship of the monologue and the musicianship of the song, but not how Spencer or Kate identify with them. Often the thing that holds a student back from nailing their audition is that misconnection. So like, I've had plenty of college administrators tell me, like, very good song, and they seem like a good actor, but they just didn't seem there. That's what you get with a monologue or a song you don't have a connection with. You know what I mean? So that's why it's like, I always say this: if Defying Gravity is the only song that speaks to your soul, and you go through 1,000 other songs and nothing hits you, then I want you to do Defying Gravity, because it will set you up for success more than something else that's not overdone or blah, 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 blah. Like, overdone is a whole nother conversation that I would love to have with you. I think overdone is like the biggest scam in the world. I don't think songs really are overdone, but that's me on my soapbox. And if a coach gives you, this is for voice teachers too, y'all. If a coach doesn't give you any notes, that's a red flag. So I give a lot of praise because I'm a very positive person, but I also give a lot of notes and directions. Like, I'm not afraid to tell a student, be like, hey, did that seem like it sucked for you? Because it kind of sucked for me. If you're just getting compliments, watch out, because it's not helping your performance, okay? How to work with a coach. I'm also proud of this graphic. How to work with a coach. Shop around. Find a coach who works with your budget. And this is really important, who works with your energy. Like, I know a lot of coaches who are like kick your ass boot camp coaches, and like, I don't connect with that kind of energy. I connect with like, I don't do the build them down, break them down to build them up. I just do the build them up. And some students are like, no, break me down. Tell me I suck first and then build me up. So find a student, find a teacher who works with your energy and your specific needs. Because there are some coaches out there who are voice coaches, but maybe they're not great monologue coaches. Or maybe they're Shakespeare coaches, but not song coaches. So find someone who can do everything that you need to be done for you. Keep your hailing frequencies open. Communicate really openly about, hey, my school list, I think I want to change it, or I have a question about this school. Your audition material. So like, Kate, your question was really great about like, how do I find this monologue, or this monologue's not working with me? Remember that they work for you. So if you have a question, it's their responsibility to make sure that it gets solved. And then communicate about how often you want to work. I have some students who are like, I don't want to work more than once every couple of weeks. And like, if they're fine, cool. Or some students are like, I feel insecure about my pieces. I want to work twice a week. You know what I mean? And because, again, we're always our worst critics as actors, we generally want to work more. And then what else you'd like help with. You know, communicate about whatever your needs are in this whole process. So this is a secondary but very important note about working with a coach. You can protect your confidence by only working with a single coach on your material. Because when you work with someone else, you'll get a second opinion, and your confidence will plummet after you've built up this thing after months of progress. And what I mean by that is because this is such a subjective field, art, like if Spencer is working with me and we build this monologue, and I'm more of like, I don't know, like a pastry chef, and we build this beautiful cake together. He takes it to another coach who's more of like a pasta chef. They'll be like, where's the pasta? This sucks. And then he'll get a lot of notes, and then he'll come away with a monologue that's like a pasta cake, and nobody wants that. And Spencer will be like, oh no, my monologue sucks all of a sudden. I did everything wrong. And then you have to start all over again. It has happened to us in the past. So like, once you start your fall semester, if you have acting classes and they want you to do a monologue, don't do your college audition monologues that you've been working on with somebody else. Do anything else. And don't work with a different coach. Does that all make sense? Cool. How to work without a coach. Give yourself lots of time and patience. It'll take a little more time, but you can do it. Researching schools on your own is time consuming and it can feel overwhelming. So give yourself a dedicated work schedule to help you find your schools. And I always say pick between 12 and 20 schools with 2 dedicated safeties. And the reason that I use 12 and 20, 12 is a hard like bottom for me because, you know, as actors, you're going through triple the hoops that your friends are going through who are not actors. So all they have is academic. That's it. You have academic plus the audition, plus then can we use you? So maybe Spencer's grades are great, he auditions great, and they go, oh, we have so many brown-haired tenors. Sorry, man, you're great, we can't use you. So that's why I say 12 is minimum. 20 is maximum for me, just because like my brain would turn to scrambled eggs if I had more than 20 schools to focus on. Give yourself a dedicated work schedule to find out your audition requirements. This is probably the most time-consuming thing you'll do. It takes typically about 3 weeks, I have found, for students to make their audition requirements. That's when the due dates are, when the audition dates are, early decision dates, how long is the monologue, what year is it from, all that kind of stuff for each and every school. If you're not a theater parent, the monologue and song requirements will be like reading Sanskrit. So let your kids do this. Students, you have more of an advantage on your parents because you are already familiar with all this terminology. Find monologues and songs. So how to find monologues without a coach? You can use monologue books for sure, as long as the monologues are from plays. Not like Jeff's monologue book and it's like 100 original monologues. Don't use those. But like if it's a monologue collection from plays, totally okay. You can also read plays. My recommendation is to read lesser known works by well-known playwrights. Like there are a ton of playwrights who have Tony Awards and stuff, but they've written plays that premiered at a festival and then died after that. But they have really good material on them. So does that make sense? Cool. If you want to be looking for songs, I think the Hal Leonard audition book is a great place to start. It's like a monologue book, but for songs. And they have it for like mezzo, volume 1 through 6, soprano, volume 1 through 6. And they're all like 16 to 32 bars. YouTube, 54 Below videos are a great place to find audition pieces. And then similar to the playwrights, look up well-known composers, lesser-known work. Like Rodgers and Hammerstein have a few flops. Cantor and Ebb have mostly flops. Like everyone knows like Chicago and Cabaret, and that's kind of it. Like those are really famous, but then they have like 10 shows that never really went anywhere. And then don't worry about overdone. I am so over things being overdone. So here's how overdone comes to be with a song. So let's say that like, I don't know, it's 2000, right? And every college student in the year 2000 is using My Strongest Suit from Aida, okay? And so it gets labeled with overdone in the year 2000 because it was done a lot. Well, in 2020, who's using My Strongest Suit from Aida? Nobody, but it still has the tag of overdone on it. So there are a lot of pieces that people will call overdone and don't do it but it's not because they're actually overdone still. Does that make sense? Okay. Like, what's it called? I Can't Say No. Like, everyone thinks that it's done all the time. It's not. Like, in 7 years of doing this, I've had 2 students use it. You know what I mean? When you are coaching, like, have some coaching. Even if you're not working with the coach for the whole process, for some of the acting portion, make sure you have some coaching. It can be from your drama teacher, absolutely, or a director. But going it alone and like just doing it in front of your cat and they sort of like nod in approval is a recipe for a lot of wasted money and tears and heartbreak. Have your teacher time you. This is really important. Make sure your teacher times you to make sure you are well within time limits of your individual audition requirements. Because especially for pre-screens, they'll just turn you off. Be like, that's it. But if like your money note is at, 1 minute and 20 seconds, and they just show you do the patter song, like, oh, shoot, you're in trouble. Oh, hang on 1 second here. I actually have a student coming into the Zoom room, but she has a Shakespeare appointment in another Zoom room. So I'm just going to tell her that she is in the wrong Zoom room. 1 minute. Abigail Cox, are you meeting Russ? Abby. Hi, are you meeting Russ?
Yeah.
Yeah, he is not in this Zoom room.
That's on the email had this link.
Oh no! Do you have his email address or his phone number?
Yes.
Okay. Contact him because he has a different Zoom. I'm so sorry about that. I thought he put his room. I'm so sorry about that.
No problem.
Okay. Bye. Okay. Okay. If you're working without a coach, you must know who you are talking to or singing to, what your relationship is. Otherwise, it's just words. Why you're engaging with them, what you're trying to get from them, and how you are going to get it. And the moment before the monologue and song started. The reason is, A, it makes your monologue and song better, but B, you better be sure that the adjudicators are going to ask you. They're going to say, "Kate, who are you talking to here?" And if you go, like, audition's over. So make sure you know the answer to that. Make sure you know your tactics, your beats, all that kind of stuff. Tangible steps to increase admissions. Academics, even for a theater kid. Your GPA and essays have the biggest impact for admissions and financial considerations, much more than talent scholarships do. Test scores obviously are really in question for this year because of COVID, but test scores were already really declining in importance anyway. So the most important factors you have are GPA and essays, because schools are finally figuring out that like there are really smart kids who are bad test takers. So like it's not a good measure of your intelligence. If there's a subject that's difficult for you, get a tutor. And like college tutors are the best because like they have just done your material a couple years before, and they're usually much cheaper than like a professional tutor. Do as many APs as you can. It looks really good on your transcript, and it frees up a lot of your GEs so you can have a much less hectic schedule in college and maybe open that door to a minor. And also, there are some pretty easy APs out there, like AP Lit, super easy, AP Psych, pretty easy. Any of the AP histories are pretty easy, and AP language too is pretty easy. AP Music Theory is a beast. Spencer's, yes, it is. All right, tangible steps to increase admissions. Work with a coach on crafting a specifically balanced school list. When I talk about my company slogan is maximize admissions and don't lose your marbles, this is what I mean when I talk about maximizing admissions. A specifically balanced school list, because coaches will be up to date on which schools are reach and fit and safety, because they change from year to year. select material that you really connect with. Your performance will always be more magnetic. So what should your school makeup look like? So these are my own recommendations. There's nothing set in stone, but these have worked for me and my students. 1 safety school minimum, but 2 preferred. And by safety, I'm talking audition-wise. I'm not talking GPA. I mean that Kate can walk up to campus and say, I want to be a theater major, and they go, all right, get in here. 2 safeties, and the rest are a composite and reach. 50-50 is cool. 60-40, either balance is cool. 70-30 is cool, but don't get beyond that. Then we start to minimize our admissions. So anywhere between 50-50 and 70-30, reach fit or fit reach is super cool. So tangible steps to increase admissions: contact the schools you're interested in. If they know you, it really goes a long way. Because again, with college auditions, it's not just, are you talented? Everyone's talented. It's, if they know Kate and she's super cool to work with and know that already, they know they might like to work with you for 4 more years. Getting the attention of your school's faculty gets you on their radar. Spencer.
What's the best way to get in contact with these people, and like what do we want to say to be on their radar?
Take me. So get in contact with them right now via email, and you can just ask them, hey, if you have 10 minutes, I would love to chat with you on Zoom about the program. And they're always super happy to do it because you are a source of revenue for them and they would love your money. And so they are really happy to talk with you. Yeah. Ask for a tour. Obviously, maybe not right now because of COVID. And then with COVID, invite them to your virtual cabarets and virtual school shows because they like coming. Like, they don't have a lot going on right now. So if they can sort of go to a high school showcase to scout you, they would love to do that. Do a summer at their schools. Obviously, this summer might be a little different. We'll see. You can pass this information along to friends you have who are going into junior year or sophomore year. Some summer programs are more beneficial than others. If the people who run the program or in charge of recruitment aren't there, the summer program doesn't go a long way for you. You might also get grad students teaching, and you don't get to meet any faculty. Did either of you guys do Michigan's MPulse program? Okay, good. I think it is a scam. I really don't like it because, like, there was a seminar about it, and one of my kids, I couldn't break his heart, but he comes up to me, he goes, I went to the MPulse seminar, and the head said he could tell I was so talented just by meeting me that I didn't even need to audition, and I signed up right then. And I was like, oh, he just took $5,000 from you. So, like, you want to make sure that, like, it's not just a chance to be on the campus of Michigan. You know what I mean? So, you know, ask around before you commit to anything. Bulk up on your second and third talents. This is really important. So, like, for me, I would say I'm an actor and then a singer, and then, like, dig 5 miles into the earth, I'm a dancer. So, like, no program will ever hinge on my movement. But on my voice, yeah. So I want to really brush up on that voice, because what schools like Michigan, Kearney, Tisch, Texas will tell you, we're looking for 2 out of 3. We're looking for 2 really good out of 3. So if you are a great dancer and a great singer, then, like, acting, okay, well, don't worry about it. But, like, brush up on those first 2. Yeah, Spencer.
Sorry, I keep asking questions.
I love this. I love it.
So I think I'm kind of with you there, where I'm an actor and then a singer and then, you know, somewhere down here a dancer.
Yeah.
But I've been, like, working a lot, like taking classes and stuff this summer.
Yeah.
And I'm planning on taking more to improve my dancing.
Yes.
And I was thinking that would be really beneficial for me as a boy going into musical theater. Do you think that it's worth that investment or if it'd be better spent like focusing on my singing. And
No, I think it's worth that investment because you had mentioned that like your acting and singing were pretty much on the same par and then dancing. So it sounds like you have like a tie for first and then a second.
maybe. I think my acting is stronger, but
Okay. But also, like you said, and you took the words right out of my mouth, as a boy,
yeah.
dancing boys, your stock goes way up. So yeah, that's a very good investment.
Okay.
Okay, so some financial aid facts. Average tuition for the top theater schools is about $45,000 a year. Add room and board, and it's about $55,000 a year. Add an average cost increase of 3.7% a year, and it's about $220,000 for 4 years. Okay? So a school may be a fit for you in every way except financial, and it's really important that you kind of accept that right now. Like, let's say a school is like, has all the training you want, it fits your finances, but like, it's in a part of the South that you just don't feel comfortable with. Like, you wouldn't go there because it's a fit for you in every way except one important way. It's the same with finances. Like, maybe it has everything, but if it doesn't fit your checkbook, it's not a good fit for you. So know what you can handle financially. If you're mired in $100,000 student debt after graduation, making a living will be really difficult. A friend of mine that I did Disney Cruise Line with, she's a graduate of Michigan, and she's not from Michigan. And so out-of-state cost for Michigan is about $60,000 a year. And she was like, but I got in. So she went, she graduates, and she's got about $200,000 of student loans that she has to pay back. And she moved to New York, but she couldn't audition. She couldn't go to class. She couldn't do any of that because her whole life was spent like catering and waitering and getting jobs until she got so burnt out that she gave up the business. So I don't want that for you. So make sure that once you graduate, like student debt's fine, but make sure it's not so much that making a living in this thing that you love right now, you don't fall out of love with it for financial reasons. Scholarships. Only 0.15% will receive a full ride. I think it's like 22,000 out of 13 million will receive a full ride. Okay? So even if you have great grades and great talent, the odds of the money you will get covering everything are not high. Okay? You'll get some money for sure, but don't expect a full ride. Merit scholarships. So merit scholarships, grades are where you get your most money. So private universities tend to be more holistic with scholarship considerations for merit, and state schools tend to be a little more cut and dry. Like, these are the metrics, these are the markers that we're looking at. Talent scholarships, they're based on your audition, and they may not be wholly based on your audition because a lot of schools that are an academic research institute first, like Michigan, Carnegie, NYU, they'll be looking at academic factors along with your audition for money. And if you get a big chunk of money for theater, they will also be looking for a participation commitment. Like, you're signing something saying, if I'm taking this money, then I will not leave the theater department. I will not change my major. Because if you do, you lose that money for school. Just like if you, start playing football for UCLA and then you decide, I don't want to play football anymore, there goes your full ride. Okay, a CSS profile, you fill this out for the universities. It's not a FAFSA. It's for the university itself, for money qualifications. It's your parent information, demographic information for everyone in the household, prior year income, future year income, home equity, your business, retirement value, other resources. So, Kate, I see you taking notes like mad. Don't worry, I'm recording this, so I will send you the recording so that you can save this and show it to your parents, because I imagine they're a little bit more knowledgeable about like your business assets than you are. Uh, the CSS profile, though, is different from the FAFSA. Only complete this if your school requires it. If they don't require it, don't do it, okay? FAFSA, it's free to fill out, so do it. Even if you are a wealthy family, you could still qualify for federal money. So fill out the FAFSA regardless of how much you make. And to qualify for any federal money, you need to have the FAFSA filled out. Generally, it's March 1st for regular decision students, right before schools start giving out admissions. And the applications open up in October. For your parents, you'll need your prior tax year. So if it's 2020, they'll be looking at 2018's money, okay? And your current asset information. So in 2018, I made this many dollars from my job. Also, I own a house and a boat and they're valued at X many dollars. Basic info you must disclose: prior tax return, your W-2s, cash saving checking, investments, business income, untaxed income. Investments include, again, this is more for your parents, like the non-liquid assets, like mutual funds, CDs, stocks, bonds, if you own any real estate, et cetera, et cetera. Financial aid timeline. So right now, July through September, what you and your parents should be doing is creating a financial aid folder and a virtual folder to share information together. So you'll create your financial aid timeline. Now is the time to research financial aid deadlines, and then use the net price calculator, which I'll get to in a minute, and begin to search for private scholarships. So private scholarships only average about $1,500 a piece. They don't like take a huge chunk out of your tuition, but with enough private scholarships, it makes a big dent. So if you look for private scholarships, like I always say, like try and get 3 or 4, because then you'll really be able to feel a relief. October, November, complete the FAFSA, complete the CSS, and submit any additional applications for financial aid. December through January, begin to apply for private scholarships and submit any documentation that financial aid may ask you for, and then you'll play the waiting game. February through April, as you're auditioning, parents should plan on completing taxes as early as possible for the next 4 years to re-up your financial aid every year. Compare your financial aid rewards school by school, and communicate any special circumstances to each financial aid office. What that means is when you talk about appeal, about financial aid appeal, let's say that like in 2018, Kate's family, like, I don't know, invented the next great app and they made like $1 billion. And then like the app was defective and they got sued and they lost everything. The school looks at 2018 and they're like, you're friggin' rich. And February through April is when you do appeals. And you're like, ooh, actually, we're not rich. Here's our money from this year. Here's the circumstances that we're in now. And what I always say is like, if the school has accepted you, they can't unaccept you if you're being persistent about money. And they're really used to it. You're not being a pain in the ass. Like, they are very used to students going, this is a lot of money. And the more breaks I can get, the better. And it means a lot to me. So don't be shy about being persistent. May through August, accept and finalize that financial aid offer, submit the documentation, and then apply for the loans and establish your payment plan. So the net price calculator, every school has this somewhere on their website. Some are easier to find than others. You enter in, the cost of the school, which they already have in there, what you expect you will contribute, and then what you expect, what you make, like what your family makes, and it will show you of what your actual cost will probably be. The pros, it gives you a good idea of what your financial aid package will be, and it lets you explore that financial aid. The cons are it's a little dated sometimes, and it may not be your actual package, but it will give you a rough estimate. Your financial e-folder that you share with your parents should have all of this. So if you want to take a screenshot, I won't mind at all. This will be really handy to like give to your parents ASAP. It's stuff you should have on file that will make this all go faster when you start filling out the stuff. And then this is for you and your parents. It's really important to have these conversations right now because you need to know what your financial shape is before you get accepted to schools. How much do we save for college? Like, I don't want you to be looking at all schools that are, you know, $40,000 outside your budget range if those aren't a real option. You know what I mean? How much can we afford to spend for college and living expenses? Meaning, like, what kind of meal plan am I looking at? Am I going to have to share a room with 4 people or 2? What are your parents' expectations for you once you're in college? Do they expect you to get a job? Like, that shouldn't be a surprise. How much do they expect you to earn from doing like work study? Are you expected to keep working during the summer? Will you have a car? And how often this is a big one, how often can you afford to bring your student home? Like, you don't want it to be a surprise when it's like, hey, it's Thanksgiving. And they're like, nah, we can't fly you out. It's best to know like way ahead of time. Okay, how to get off the wait list. So what is the wait list? So schools accept way more students than they can take. But if they had their druthers, they would take way more. They would take everyone that they accept and they accept on the wait list. The wait list is not a second choice list. It means we really want you. You're a good fit for our school. You're definitely talented enough. Your grades are great. And now we just hope someone says no so we can get you in here. The waiting is not done by you. The waiting is done by the school. They're waiting to hear from everyone in hopes that someone says no so they can get you in. How to get off the wait list. So when a spot finally opens up for a student, the schools want to make a decision like that day. So if Spencer says, I can't come, they want to know that they can get Kate in there right then. So make that easy for them by writing them at least twice after you hear you're on the wait list. Tell them you really want to come to their school and you're really interested. And it may feel weird to be like, hi, I really want to come to your school. But for them, it's super helpful because if they have 10 people on their wait list and they're all super talented, but Kate's the one who's like, you don't understand, I love Elon and I really want to come, then they'll be like, well, great, let's get Kate in here. She's the one who really wants to come. If a school is your number one choice, tell them that. That makes a big difference. And the other thing that makes a enormous difference is tell them, I'm ready to put down a deposit the second you say I'm in. That makes choosing a school way easier. Amy Rogers, the head of PACE, told me that. I said, what do you want to hear from a student on the wait list? She said, that they're ready to give me money. I said, okay, got it. When you're in the audition room, you can't give them what they want because they don't know what they want. They have no clue what they want. So it's fruitless to try and give them what they want because they don't know. The only thing that you're in control of is being the fiercest version of yourself that you can be. So what they want is really finite. Professional conduct. Spencer walks in, he says hello, he gives his music to the accompanist. You're organized and prepared. You don't have like loose leaf, sheet music and you're not memorized on your monologues. You're friendly. Hi, hello. You're on time. And then that you go full tilt into your audition so they don't have to pull your performance out of you. That's it. That's all they want. And the rest is just you being you. And then finally, remember to be really kind to yourself when it comes to audition acceptances. If you think of auditions as test scores, like you get into 3 out of 9 schools, you're going to feel terrible because that's not how auditions work. You have to think of auditions as a batting average. If you go 3 for 9 in a day, you're hitting over 330 and you're the league leader in hitting that day. That's what auditions are. If you get into 3 out of 9 school, you're in like the top 10th percentile. You're killing it. So think of it that way and you'll feel a lot better. So you need to know, you don't need to do. So how do you do it? So the CAP flagship program is a custom targeted collection of school recommendations. And remember how I said that's where the beginning of maximizing admission starts. It's based on a dozen criteria that are important to you, including training and networking opportunities and cost, exposure to the industry, and like I said before, fitting your career goals. And some quick stats on school match success. Families without a targeted school list spend on average about $2,000 more in travel and hotel costs because they're not organized in advance. So the audition requirements has every school requirement for every aspect of your audition, for the pre-screen and the in-person monologues and song parameters. It also includes due dates and locations, and it saves on average about 3 weeks of time. The monologue selection provides you with monologues that you can connect to that elevates your performance in the room. And it finds the pieces that can really belong to you, both contemporaries and Shakespeare's. And we know that, you know, like we're talking about before, Kate, there is no one size fits all for monologues. So we make sure that they really speak to you. For song selection, if you don't have an audition book or you're an MT kid who's got like the folder this big of songs, choosing your songs can be stressful, but it doesn't have to be. We'll help you select the songs in your book that pair with your monologues, that showcase you as a complete performer working with your voice teacher. If you don't have songs, we get to do the most fun thing in the whole process, which is listen to show tunes and adding them to your book. So the school match is $350, audition requirements is $350, monologue selection is $250, and song selection is $250 for a total of $1,200. The training package is everything that goes on in the summer, like right now. So monologue coaching is working consistently, but not constantly, and elevating your performance each time. Training over a longer period of time allows for more discovery for you as an actor and more comfort to take risk and make a stronger performance. You're looking for 2 contemporaries, 1 backup contemporary, and 1 Shakespeare. Song coaching, most of it will obviously be with your voice teacher, but the acting in the song is still the most important thing. Like a monologue, a song has to have stakes, story arcs, tactics, and objectives. So you'll build the muscles you'll need in the audition room. Shakespeare, you'll have the ability to feel confident with Shakespeare, and it's coached by Russ, who Abby was in here to see a minute ago. He's a graduate of the Dell'Arte School, and it cuts through the confusion on text, and you help make it your own. And one of my favorite testimonials I have is from an MT kid who said, coming from MT, I was terrified of Shakespeare, and now my Shakespeare is my favorite one to do in auditions, which makes me feel really great. The training package is the monologue coaching, the song coaching, Shakespeare, which is a total value of $3,600. Audition Ready is the final piece, and it's the pre-screen where you film with me and Russ in person. Obviously, we do most of our coaching online because of COVID and because you live in Connecticut and you live in Salt Lake, but we film in person. So having coaches present is a real game changer for performance because we're always our worst critics. So you need someone there to say, no, that wasn't bad, that was very good, but change this. And with the audition requirements and us filming, you won't overlook anything. We provide the accompanist, the studio lighting, the camera, and the backdrop, and we do all the editing of the footage for you so that all you do is open a Dropbox that we make for you, and you open each school's folder and just click and drag. And the mock audition is like any other kind of audition. Like I was talking to you about, it's much different than a Broadway audition, much different from a high school audition. And if you're ready for it, that first audition could be $20,000. So you want to have it ready and having done a test run already. And then Unified's coaching, we would normally travel with you to Unified's. Instead, we'll just be in your computer the whole week of Unified's to work with you, to brush up before your auditions. So you warm up with us and you let go of nerves. And we help you crush your walk-in auditions, which there will still be walk-in auditions with the online Unifieds and even more opportunities to do walk-ins. So Audition Ready is pre-screens, the mock audition, Unified's coaching for a total of $1,250. And the complete package, I think that picture's pretty funny. I asked my girlfriend, I was like, who's the complete package for you? She's like, The Rock. I was like, thank you. The complete package is the foundations, the training package, Audition Ready for $60.50. And a bonus is Cap Connect, which you may have already heard about. It's an online module that walks you through every step of the college audition from now until the audition itself. It's an online course and you work it at your own schedule. It's a 12-module course that gives you all the nitty-gritty guideposts for you and your parents. So the complete package is foundations, training, audition ready, Cap Connect, for a total value of $7,667. And until August the 12th, the complete package goes from $7,667 to $3,117 in as many payments as works for you. So 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, whatever works for you. And now, as promised, the one major thing that isn't a major thing at all, your resume. It doesn't matter. So quoting Amy from PACE, she said, "You could hand me a blank piece of paper, and if you're the person I'm looking for, I couldn't care less." I had a performer last year. She had Broadway credits. She played Annie in Annie on Broadway. Her letters of rec were from James Lapine, who wrote Into the Woods and Falsettos, and she didn't get in anywhere. Her resume did not matter. Another performer who only had credits in high school got into all her schools. So it doesn't matter what your resume says. It's just a conversation starter. That's it. It's just, hi, this is me, Kate, in the world of performing. It's just for them to get to know you, and it's an icebreaker. So maximum time you should spend on a resume, 30 minutes. That's it. And then you have hours of your life back, okay? So now, I know that was like a fire hose worth of information. I want to open it up to questions that you may have prepared in advance, and I have half an hour to answer whatever you got.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you talked about not using more than one coach. So right now I'm working with someone in New York, like primarily, and I'm working with him every week. But there's also someone in Salt Lake who I've used like occasionally. And I just thought it was, I mostly did it because I thought it would be more helpful for someone to like hear me in person with singing. And then she has, I don't know, like I have a friend who used her before and like had a really great experience.
Yeah.
And she seems to like be a little bit more helpful with like the acting aspect of it.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
What's your teacher in New York helping you with?
Everything.
Okay. And then your teacher in Utah is helping you with just songs?
Well, I mean, right now the idea is everything. I was mostly, the reason I like, the main reason I wanted to work with her is because I thought that she would be able to like, I was worried like someone in New York on Zoom wouldn't be able to hear me as well and like hear, like specifics in my voice. So that's like the main reason I used her, but she is probably more helpful for the monologues than anything else.
So I would just
set
really specific things of what you're using each for, because if you're using each teacher for everything, it's really going to be a nightmare.
Okay.
So if you say, hey, I just want to work with you on monologues, that would be cool. And then here in Salt Lake, say, I just want to work with you on songs, that'd be super cool. That'd be great. But don't have two sets of notes, because they will conflict and it will make your pieces into kind of a mushy spaghetti cake.
What do you think of using primarily the New York person and then just occasionally saying, hey, here's what we worked on with my like main coach. What do you think of this? No,
because they'll say, this moment's weird. And you'll say, but that's the moment I worked on with New York. And then it will be very uneven.
Okay.
Yeah, I've had people who have been like, I'll pay you to look at my work from another coach. And I've been like, I will not do that to you. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. Thanks.
Yeah. Kate, anything from you? I got
My
you.
mouse is like not moving. I just try to unmute myself. I'm looking through my notes just to make sure.
Yeah.
I think I think something that I have like the most trouble with is okay, so you were talking about how one of the like criteria to getting in is like they look at your academics and then your audition and then like how much they can use you.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, how should I stand out from the other like short blonde belters at like the auditions?
Well, I mean, the only ways to stand, because if you come in as Kate, you already can do what no one else can do. So that's covered. Like when I go in to an audition, I know that no one can do what I do. No one can do what you do. So in the artistic way, you already stand out. Don't worry about it. What you can do to stand out are the things that the pragmatic things are looking for. Are you on time? Are you professional? Are all your pieces really technically polished? And are you game for anything? When it comes to the actual audition, this is a big help for standing out in a positive way. If they give you a note, man, take it to the nth degree. So if they say, hey, can you play it a little more close to home? Play it close to home. What they want to see is you are directable, and they will enjoy working with you for 4 years. So whatever you've worked on with your coach or your drama teacher, throw it away the minute they say, I'm your director now, and you do what I say. Be able to really go with them. That makes a huge difference.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a question with that.
Yeah.
So say you go to one school and you like one audition and you have what you've been working on with your coach. And then they say, will you try it this way? When you go to the next audition, sorry, we have people talking. When you go to the next audition, do you want to use what you've been working on with your director or with your coach or what? Or what they...
Yeah, so do it the way that you've been working on with your director, if that with your coach, if that feels the best. Because most of the time, they're giving you direction in the room just to see if you can take direction. So most of the time, even if you come in and like you sing the best Rose's Turn in the history of musical theater, they'll still say, seems a little big. Make it more personal just to see if you can do it. Okay? So that's just to make sure that, is Spencer talented? Yes. Is he professional? Yes. But is he flexible? That's the last thing that we need to see. Yeah.
I have a question about something that we didn't really talk about, but I don't really know if it matters. What do you suggest we go? How do you suggest we go for what to wear in your audition? Because people say different things. Like I don't know how like dressed up or dressed down.
Yeah. So again, this is one of those like, hi. Oh, hello. Who's that person?
This is Sasha.
Hi, Sasha. How old are you? 7?
You nailed it.
I'm amazing. So with wardrobe, that's another thing that like gets lumped in with like the know-it-all theater kids who are like, that song's overdone, or you have to wear heels or this may shut up. It really just comes down to what is comfortable that makes you feel confident. Again, like I was talking to Amy Rogers from Pace, and someone asked that question. She was like, I don't care. Like if your aesthetic and what makes you feel good about yourself is like a short top that shows off your midriff and tight torn jeans and you feel good in those, wear that. I like to get dressed up for my auditions and I feel really good when I get dressy. But a lot of my friends who book Broadway shows are like, t-shirt and jeans, doesn't matter. So whatever makes you feel good, that's what you should wear. But a note about the pre-screen, avoid busy patterns. because it will make the camera very confused.
Uh-huh.
Because with pre-screens, a lot of time you're filming like from your top of your head, like your chest, and so the camera's real close. So if you have like tiny polka dots, it'll look really weird.
Yeah.
Also, a weird note about the pre-screens and the camera stuff. So check your wardrobe and make sure that the camera is not confused by your patterns. Also, make sure the color that you see with your own eye is also the color the camera gets. And then specifically for girls, the cameras tend to pick up bras that the human eye can't see. So make sure that you test for that too.
Okay.
Yeah. And Spencer, if you wear a bra, you know,
yeah, I was going to say something that I have a couple of questions. One of them I'll start with is, what do you think about if a school offers a redirect to acting?
Oh, for musical theater, I really love that option.
Okay.
Because, you know, having worked in the theater for as long as I've been doing this, I will say that 9 out of 10 times, the casting director will always choose the better actor than the better singer dancer. And I look at people like Philippa Sue, who doesn't have a degree in musical theater or voice or dance or degrees in acting, but like she's a killer musical theater performer because her background's in acting. And like for you guys who are MT people, like you take private voice and you've been doing musicals for forever. What you don't get in high school is acting technique. That's always the thing that's lacking the most. So getting an acting, like a crash course in acting technique, you'll still be able to take voice class in college and dance class. But you really center it with acting. I think it's a really great option.
Okay.
Is Chapman on your guys' list?
We took it off, but we could put it back on.
The reason that I like it is because it's an acting BFA, but you can minor in MT. And so for me, that's the perfect combination. It's like, it's a really heavy acting curriculum with musical theater on top of it.
It was a little bit of a financial stretch, but we can put it on the list.
Yeah, absolutely. My buddy David is the head of financial aid there. So, you know, maybe I can put in a good word. Maybe I can't. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a couple more questions, but if Kate has some, she can go next.
Okay.
I don't have any questions right now, but I can go after if I figure something out.
Okay. Jazzy?
So for schools that are, sorry, I'm talking with my mouth full. Kate, you're supposed to have a question.
Sorry.
One of the schools that we have on our list as like a solid safety school as terms of like being non-audition but still being a really good program is Muhlenberg.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that or about other schools you think might be in that same category?
Yeah. So Muhlenberg, there's a misnomer about Muhlenberg being non-audition. It really can't call itself that anymore. Because what it is, it's a non-audition program, but the major's impacted. Just like if you went to Penn State for like nursing or something, you can't declare yourself a nursing major because there's not enough spots. Same thing with theater at Muhlenberg. So if Spencer just goes to Muhlenberg and declares himself a theater major, he may not be able to get in. So they have auditions for Muhlenberg for additional considerations. And those, I mean, you kind of have to do those. The program is very good and they're pretty darn generous. I have a student who's starting in the fall.
Very affordable for us.
Yeah, he has a full ride.
Wow.
And the nice thing about Muhlenberg is it's sort of a build your own BFA buffet.
Yeah.
So I really like their program, but you definitely need to audition to be considered for a spot in the program and for money.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any places you can think of we should look into that are like true safety schools?
Yeah. So my favorites right now are Chico State.
Okay.
which is it's a Cal State school here in NorCal.
Yeah,
It's
they're part of. They do a exchange with Utah, though. We could get in-state tuition, pretty close to in-state.
Really?
Tuition. Yeah.
Oh, cool. So
Yeah.
it's one of only 2 Cal States that have a BFA and MT, and it's a non-audition BFA this year. It's the first year of their BFA, but I'm living in Chico right now, and I know the head of the program very well. And unlike USC's BFA, where like it was several years in the works and it had a failure to launch and they blah, 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 Chico's was like, it's been ready for years and they just got the paperwork to call it a BFA. So like, I like their program a lot and it's a non-audition. Another one that is non-audition as a freshman is Cal State Fullerton. So Spencer does walk onto campus and say, I'm a theater major, and they go, great, but you have to audition to stay in the BFA for your first 2 years. And they whittle it down from like 100 down to 10.
So what if you like, that's a pretty big risk to me to like go there, commit there. Okay. Yeah.
It is a very big risk. And then my other favorite is UNLV, University of Nevada, Las Vegas. I like it a lot. It's a non-audition program, but then there's an audition-based acting program within the department and a musical theater minor. And the other thing that I like about it is for Spencer, like being a talented boy, you can do what my Shakespeare coach Russ did when he went there, is you get a job in one of the Broadway style shows in the casinos, and like you make a living doing MT by night, and then you get your education during the day.
Yeah, it's a fantastic location for showbiz. Yeah.
So those are my tops.
So I know in the Facebook thing that you did, you talked about applying early decision to a school itself and how that's a good fit for some schools. And like, I think Spencer, his two top choices, I think are Viterbo and Baldwin Wallace.
Okay.
How much, if he were to apply early, so he has a very good GPA and ACT score. He's an academics. Every school on his list is an academic safety. He's like in the top 3% of people accepted. But so he's not at risk for not getting into any of the schools on our list. But how much does applying early decision affect your ability to negotiate financial aid or get a good financial package?
Not really any.
Okay.
It just affects it increases your chances of admissions, but it doesn't help with financial aid at all.
Right. I've heard that it's actually can be harmful for financial aid because you're already committed to go there. So you can't say, well, this other school offered me this. Can you match?
Right. And they're like, who cares? You're coming here anyway. Right.
Yeah. That's a big deal. So I'm wondering like how much leverage people actually get out of that type of negotiation or.
I mean, were it up to me, if finances are the primary concern, I wouldn't do early decision.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a question. So for applying early decision, do you have certain tips to approaching those auditions versus like regular decision auditions, just because they typically are first?
No, it's the same audition. The only difference would be that timeline I talked about where like you take fall off. That would be different for an early decision audition. So like you would film your pre-screen and then we would keep working and make sure that everything's in tip-top shape and put you through an early mock audition before you go and audition in like October.
Okay.
But your audition in the room itself would be exactly the same.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Anything else from Spencer or Jesse?
There you go.
So, are there any schools on here that you want to just ask him, like maybe what he knows about them?
Yeah.
Oh, one of the things you said about like if there's a school in the South that you just don't think that you'll fit in there, like I mean, I think two of the schools on our list are University of Alabama and University of Alabama Birmingham.
Yeah.
And we are from we're from like a state of the whitest white people ever,
Yeah.
and a lot of like just probably a lot of
Yeah.
racism that
Yeah.
people don't want to acknowledge. What do you think about like Spencer wants to go experience something different and experience more diversity and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What do you think about fitting in or being like, most of the stereotypes I have about the South are either negative or they're kind of like patronizingly idealistic. Like
Yeah.
what do you think about, I think it could be really, really good experience to go do something different and be some more diverse, but what do you know?
So I've been to both campuses as an entertainer. And I will say, as a queer Jew, I felt right at home.
Great.
That's good.
That's exactly what I was asking. Okay.
Yeah. Like, I stuck out like a sore thumb. I was definitely the only Jew on campus, and I was like, this is fine.
Yeah. Good. Can we ask you like about just a couple of schools on our list, and you can tell us,
Absolutely.
things that you think?
Yeah.
So we have 4 Reach schools.
Yeah.
And they're Arizona State, Baldwin Wallace, SEMO, Southeast Missouri State.
Okay.
And University of Arizona.
Okay.
Those are ones that like his vocal coach thinks are probably like there's not a school on the list that's an out of reach school, but he considered those like reaches. Do you have any thoughts on any of those?
I don't think ASU or Southeast Missouri State are reaches.
Okay.
I think they're fits.
Okay.
Like when I'm talking about a reach, I'm talking about like it's you and 1,000 of your friends who are auditioning.
Yeah.
Which Baldwin Wallace and U of A definitely are, but
Okay.
not ASU and not Southeast Missouri.
Okay. Some other ones that she said were probably targets were going to be Ball State, Columbia College Chicago, Kent State, Rider, Roosevelt, the 2 in Alabama.
Oh, sorry. I would put Roosevelt as a reach.
Okay.
I like that too.
Yeah.
All right. And then University of Utah, Viterbo, and University of Wisconsin Stevens Point.
Yeah, those all sound great.
Okay.
The only thing I would caution you about is Columbia College Chicago. They have 2 programs. They have a musical theater BA and BFA. If you don't get into the BFA at Columbia College Chicago, the BA is really just kind of like an afterthought of the program. So don't accept just the BA.
Okay.
Yeah. If you get in the BFA, it's super awesome because, man, that location is just crazy.
Yeah, it's great.
There was another school in like close to Chicago. It was called like North Central or something like that.
Northwestern?
No, not Northwestern. It was called.
There was a North Central College that you're talking
Oh yeah, I
about.
think it was called North Central College. Nah. Okay. And
It
then,
may be a great program. I just never heard of it.
okay. And then for are there any schools on there that you think are, the last one on there was University of Wisconsin Stevens Point. Are there any on there that you would say like don't even bother going there if you can't go there?
No, those are all great. How many schools does your list make up right now?
16.
Great. Awesome. Love it. Kate, can I hear yours?
I don't have my list with me right now. My
Okay.
parents are here.
Okay, that's all right.
What do you think about the Malloy College in it's a Cap 21?
Yeah. So I think the idea of it's super cool. Like you're living on Long Island, you're taking all your GEs in Long Island, and then you take a train into the city for your training. It's a great opportunity to like get familiar with New York City without having to like dorm in New York City. which I think is super cool. My only reservation is, and I say this because like my dad's a CPA and he's very big on like hedging risk, is that Cap 21 used to be a part of NYU, and then one day it was just like, now we're not. We've moved to Malloy. So like my only reservation is like that could happen again. If one day Cap 21 was like, screw you, Malloy, we're going over here now. Like I would just be afraid of that happening.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've got a good list without it.
Okay, cool.
I don't have any more questions.
Okay. Kate, got anything for me?
I don't think so.
Jesse?
Are there, I walked away from the part where you talked about different packages, so we can look at that and get back to you and see if there's any part of that. So what we have right now is we have, so he's got his vocal coach.
Yeah.
His name is Daniel Maldonado. I don't know if you know of him. He's the one in New York. And then we have Heidi Littman-Tolkien that is kind of helping us with our class list, helping us with like the dates and stuff like that and different school requirements. But I don't want to have like too many hands in our pot. I don't want to get confused, but I also want like as much information as is helpful.
Yeah. Okay. I think, you know, I think that you guys are, I mean, you're doing a lot of the legwork. And it is Heidi making all of your audition requirements for you too?
We already kind of know them because I've researched all the schools, but that is part of what she offers.
Okay, cool. And then you have audition requirements. It sounds like you're feeling pretty good about your monologues and songs.
Yeah, selecting them. Yeah.
Yeah. And your Shakespeare?
I still need to select that.
I don't know if the schools we're looking at.
They are, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Some of them.
Okay. Shakespeare, and then sounds like you have some a monologue coach already available with Heidi. Is that right?
No, that's more with Daniel as well, and then the local person in Salt Lake that we may or may not continue with.
Okay. Do you have anyone helping with the pre-screen?
Is Daniel gonna do that? You mean as far as like the technical part of it? Yeah,
well, because I think that your pre-screen should be filmed with a coach in person. So is there like, is Daniel gonna fly out? Are you gonna fly to him? Like, I think that is worth the investment.
Okay. We hadn't talked about that, but he's definitely not coming here, but I don't even know if that's not an option, but he's like probably like our better of the two coaches, but he's not local. Okay.
Because the reason that I say it is because we're doing 3 locations this year. We're doing Northern California, Southern California, and Cleveland. So if any of those are an affordable flight for you, I'd recommend doing that.
We could drive to Southern California or Northern California in less than 10 hours.
Cool.
So those would be more likely. So is that something that you talked about in your different packages? Okay, we'll look into that.
Okay, cool. And then also I would say the mock audition as well, specifically because it's a college mock audition, which is already weird, but then add in the factor that it's all on Zoom. Like, I would love for you to have a full go through before like it actually counts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Kate, anything for you?
I don't think so. I know my family will probably contact about the different like packages.
Okay.
But yeah, I think I'm good for now.
All right, cool.
Thank you.
So can you guys do me a flav? Can you guys screenshot this Zoom call when I say so I don't have a weird face? And can you do, Kate and Spencer, can you do like a story share about like, hey, I've had a great call today with College Audition Pros. And I'm on the Instagram as I think I'm Call Audition Pro. It's a cute little cartoon of me with a blue background going, hi, that's me. There are names similar to mine, but that's me. Would that be cool?
Yeah.
Hey, all right. So take your screenshots. I'm ready.
Let's try that again.
Yeah, we're gonna try it again. We
Okay.
got you were frozen.
Okay.
I don't know how to.
Are you on a PC or a Mac?
PC.
Do you have the Windows key on the bottom left on your keyboard?
Yeah.
So if you press the Windows key and print screen at the same time, it'll do a screenshot.
Okay, sorry about that.
It's okay.
So Windows key and then print screen is right there. Okay. Got it. Okay.
All right. Cool. Thanks, y'all. And if you have any more questions, please feel free to reach out to me, and I'll be more than happy to help you.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank
All right,
you.
y'all. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.